I could watch that pretty much all day long.
I know, it's
I love
really
that
good.
video.
Big shout out to Christian, our video producer, for taking those awesome nuggets from PLF Live and putting that together.
Yeah,
It's
for
really
sure.
good.
Christian, Eli, you are the man.
He's the man.
Man with a plan.
Welcome, everybody. Thank
Hey,
you
everyone.
for joining us for some virtual event Q&A. It's what I would think of as like an Ask Us Anything session.
This is it's a Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon,
It's
Memorial Day weekend.
And we can't help but just spend this Friday with you, apparently.
But
awesome.
like, in all seriousness, let's make it worth your while. If you're showing up here this afternoon, you probably have questions about virtual events. You're debating what they are, how to use them, how to stack them, how to do the tech, how to market them, how to fill them, how to staff them, how to train your staff for them.
Yep.
So many questions.
And we came with zero content. So we don't have something specific. We don't have an agenda in mind.
Those questions, lol, I could fire questions to you.
Oh, you could.
Fire questions to me.
Absolutely. But just if you're
We
on...
could take surveys. We could ask you questions instead of you asking us questions. We'll pick your brain. How
anything
about
else
that?
you got? Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun though. What if you had a Q&A session and everybody showed up and thought that you were going to let them ask you questions, but instead you just spent the whole time asking them questions?
Well, that could work. We could do it that way.
It's like you get to know your audience.
Well, so we could start with this. Where are you guys from? If you're watching today, where are you watching from? Would love to know that. And then also, if you're on Facebook, there's the chat there. We're watching that one. And then also, if you're on sagehub.com, there is a Q&A to the right of the video, and we're watching, or a chat to the right of the video, and we're watching that. Looking at the folks that are here, I recognize one person. My mother. She watches everything I do.
We were just talking about you.
Hey, Mom. So she's in Brockville.
She's in Brockville,
Brockville,
which is in
Ontario.
Canada.
Yep. Borders are closed. I can't see my mother. But nothing really to do
Actually,
about
I was
that.
thinking about this, Gite. This is the first May since we've moved here. So in 7 years that we've not seen you. Like usually you make your annual trip here in the last week of May. And this is the first time in like, I think 7 years.
Yeah, for sure.
So such a weird time we're living in right now.
So a couple of questions, actually. First off, hi from Nashville, Tennessee, Jason, Rod from Las Vegas, Deborah from Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome, guys. For those of you watching, if you're just joining us, this is really an open Q&A session. So we're here to answer any questions you have. Now, if you have questions about the virtual event on virtual events, we're happy to answer those questions as well. That's not specifically what we're here, though, for. If you have just questions in general about virtual events, that's fine, too. I know a couple of people already asked a couple questions about the virtual event on virtual events, so let me share a couple things with you that answer some of those questions. Number one,
the swag is out. We're starting to get pictures from people receiving the swag, and that's exciting. Even people in Canada are already getting it. So
for sure.
In fact, we saw pictures of our own swag before we saw the swag. We haven't gotten our box yet, but some of our people have.
I haven't even seen it. Yeah, exactly. And I had somebody sent me a DM or whatever, a message on Facebook, and was like, hey, I got my swag. Thanks for the swag. I was like, I haven't even seen it yet. Can you send me a photo?
It turned out really good. I'm super excited about that. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, people who are registered for the virtual event on virtual events, as long as they registered by midnight tonight, you get a swag box, which is pretty awesome.
Yep.
With some really fun stuff in it.
Yeah. And let's see, other questions. Yes, the price point does go up to $297 for the virtual event on virtual events tonight at midnight. But you can still register for $97, which I think is a steal given the fact that there are bonuses galore.
That are worth at least $3,000. Listen, I think if you use one tip out of those bonuses, you could make at least $3,000 back.
For sure.
That's the goal of a bonus, by the way. I think we always coach our clients that you want to give a bonus that's even better than the thing they're buying. And so it's like you're buying 3 days with us on how to produce a virtual event. So the virtual event on virtual events, but the two bonuses we're giving, how to run a coaching zone and how to overcome objections at the back of the room, are absolutely worth more than $97 in a big way, and probably worth the cost of the, Even if you didn't come to the event, it'd be worth it just to get those two things because we typically don't sell them a la carte.
But come to the event.
But come to the event.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Hi from Oakville, Ontario, Canada A. Salisbury, Maryland. I'm living in San Jose de Cabo in Mexico. Hello.
That sounds nice.
Stamford, Connecticut. We have good friends who used to live in Stamford.
Visit Stamford all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I miss is the Jalisca outlet. That was awesome.
Of course you do. All right, so let's dive.
Little beach there.
Let's dive into a couple of questions, Barry Baumgartner. So first question is from Marcus Lindy on Facebook. Marcus said, when you talk about virtual events, do you mean you're speaking on your own virtual event or do you invite other speakers? So there's a couple ways to answer that. But why don't you speak to whether or not we're talking about hosting your own or participating in?
Well, we're really talking about hosting your own, although I think you get a lot of tips about participating in. I think the interesting thing right now is when people say virtual events, there's so many different opinions on what is a virtual event. And actually type that in the chat. What do you think when we say a virtual event? What do you think we're talking about? What do you think virtual event equals this? Like, what do you think of first? What's the first word you think of when you hear virtual event? It's probably not what we're talking about. So we'll start to see those chats roll in and we'll address that. But with a virtual event experience, especially one that is 3 days, which is what we specialize in, and especially one that is an enrollment event with a high ticket offer, which is also what we specialize in, we're generally talking about how to produce your own. At Sage, we produce 30 events a year for our clients. And we generate
most years.
Yeah, most years. Not this year, but most years. We produce 30 live in-person events for our clients that are 3-day multi-speaker enrollment events with high ticket offers. And we also have a trade association segment of our business. We have a corporate segment of our business. So it's not all enrollment events, but the majority are. And most of our clients are hiring us because they want to produce their own.
Yep.
And of course, we're bringing speakers in to speak on them. But for the most part, we love designing an in-person live event and now a virtual live event, because what we've learned is 80% of in-person and virtual are the same. Only 20% is different, surprisingly enough. And that 20% comes down to two things. And you're welcome to ask us about this. Want to guess what they are? They are tech and touch. So the difference between a virtual and an in-person event comes down to 20% difference, tech and touch.
Yeah.
What do people think a virtual event is? Have we started to see that?
Streaming, webinar, live stream, Facebook Live. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we generally hear, but it's not actually what we're talking about. Do you want to speak to that?
No.
No.
I mean, I can. Do you want me to speak to that?
I do, or I wouldn't have teed it up for you.
Well,
I'm going to ask him questions, apparently.
That's another way to do it, I guess. Okay, so yeah, when we talk about live events or virtual events, we're not talking about a Facebook Live, a live stream, or things like that. We are talking specifically about a virtual event that we look at as a live event. So the big mistake that most people make when they think of virtual events is they really just take a webinar, which is the thing that they all know, or a live stream or a Facebook Live, and they extend it over 3 days or 2 days or 1 day. And that can be a not great experience for the attendees. It can also be a not great experience for the host, having to sit there and answer questions or just teach for 3 whole days. So what we look at and how we look at our virtual events, and how we think you should as well, is we look at them like live events, and we start to approach them differently. So we, rather than looking at them as webinars that are just longer, we look at them as live events, and we think, what can we do in person that we can also do virtually? And
virtualize. How do we virtualize what we love doing in person?
Exactly.
For a virtual event.
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. And also, listen, Marcus, the cool thing about being an event host versus a speaker, you kind of make your own playground. Speaking is amazing. It's a great way to grow your business, and we love stages. We built on our business on stages, but making your own stage versus getting on somebody else's is a lot easier. And it's actually a lot more accessible these days with virtual than it is typically with live, because the cost of doing so is significantly less. So great question. All right. So next question, Yanari Marie Castro says she's in South Carolina too. Awesome.
Nice.
Any advice on integrating live portions with recorded portions for a virtual event? So technically totally doable. Personally, I like live. I think it's a better way to go. You get a better reaction. The speaker tends to interact with the audience, much like we're interacting with the chat right now. It's just easier to be interactive. Now, you can do, like some places do great pre-recorded packages, right? You think about one of the things that the NFL did right when it came to the draft that they streamed was their pre-recorded packages. That was an amazing. It's always good, right? The NFL. I mean, listen, it's hard not to.
Basically, the history of the players. So before they would announce the pick and who was going where, they had a really great sizzle reel on that player, on how they grew up, on where they played, on what was awesome about them. And it was so beautifully told. It just got you so engrossed in that player, even if you'd never heard of them, that then you were celebrating for and with them when they found out which team they were going to and their family. And then, of course, you combine that with the live component, which is them being in their homes with their families and seeing that interaction. You get to see their environment. Where are they from? And, they're real people there with them. And that moment that they'll never have again. It's like that moment when you find out what professional team you're going to be playing for. Yeah, that's football, but it's not that different from what we're talking about here. And that if you're going to do pre-recorded, maybe save that for small moments that need to be carefully scripted, a visual journey that you're taking them on, a perfect story that you want to tell. With the PLF live event that we just showed you at the opening, Jeff has an incredible team and his son Daniel does a beautiful job with video. And so they did a really nice job each morning having video stories essentially that opened up the event. So I do think it can be pre-recorded, but be careful with it. Use it very intentionally, and less is more on that.
And Yanira, good question. Love that. Thank you for asking. All right, Jim Ross, can you tell us more about how you run Zoom breakout rooms? So absolutely, this is really, how we use Zoom breakout rooms is very much how speakers from stage will give audience members activities or exercises to interact with each other. So we've all been at live events where the speaker says, take the next couple minutes and write something down. All right, cool. Now that you've done that, turn to the person next to you and chat about what you guys just wrote down, right? Some masterminding, some workshopping, things like that. It's called active learning. And essentially, or at least that's three parts of, I always get this wrong. Stop laughing at me. Go ahead. It's like you're giggling.
I don't know why he keeps using a phrase that every time he uses it gets him really, sidetracked. I get tickled every time because he wants to use those words, but he really isn't sure 100%.
I so want to use them.
What are you really trying to say? Use your own words.
No. Use your words, Melnick. You can do it.
That's not what I meant.
Have I turned red enough yet? I feel like I'm
until it's Friday afternoon.
I'm a red delicious apple right now. That's what's going down. Anyway, why don't you explain it?
No, I think where you're headed is perfect in all seriousness. So I think one of the things
perfect-ish.
One of the ways we look at breakouts is, let's say you're teaching a segment. You're the host or you're a speaker and you're teaching the segment. One of the things you have to do in a virtual event experience to keep it from feeling like a webinar and, a 3-day webinar is to keep it interactive and have it be more intentional. So let's say you teach a segment and then you can send them out into breakouts to actually talk about what they just did. If you really wanted to drive it home, you could teach the segment, then give them workbook time. Like, I want you to work on that, do an exercise quietly in your own space, your home space or workspace. And then when you're done with that, we're going to send you into breakouts, small rooms where you can talk about that exercise. In my mind, a breakout room is the equivalent of a round table in a general session room. And if you've ever walked into a general session room and seen the table set in rounds, and typically it's crescent, so all seats are facing the stage and no one has their back to the host, that's the equivalent of a breakout room. It's not uncommon for hosts when they're teaching to say, okay, I want you to share your ahas. Or I want you to go around the table and talk about how you would use that experience or how you've had that experience. It's usually because of the size of a round table and setting only half of it, you're usually going to have a round table of 6 to 8 people. And you can have a breakout room of 6 to 8 people. So in my head, whenever we're sending them out into breakout rooms, we're giving them very specific exercises on what to do and how to do it so that they're getting that interactivity. Because one thing we know is people come to live events for content, connection, and community. And we want to get inspired action around that. Interaction creates that connection and community, and there's no easier way to do it than breakouts. And the fact that Zoom allows you with the touch of a button to send them into those breakouts, that high degree of easy interactivity, is one of the reasons we think it's the perfect platform. One of the reasons we think our virtual events are getting such good attention right now, not just for people showing up, but for people staying, and why they're getting rave reviews from the attendees, because the attendees are saying we're getting a deeper level of interaction than we typically do at an in-person event. But we use it liberally, like usually one a session. You could do one every other session, and always very intentionally. We think it's so important that at the virtual event on virtual events, we're bringing in the person that we learned from, John Berghoff, to speak at the virtual event on virtual events. And he's actually going to teach how to make breakouts more interactive and have them work. Because there are definitely some protocols around what to do and not to do when you send them to breakout.
He will probably say it better than I did.
He's going to explain active learning for you. He's going to explain it to Blue too, so that Blue understands.
Well, no, I understand it. I just can't say it out loud, apparently. Every time I go to say it, it's like, wah.
If you don't know, Blue is my husband, not my business partner, my husband. And so this is just some good old Friday afternoon ribbing.
Yes, exactly. She'll pay for this off camera. It's not true. For those of you who are husbands, the wife never pays for anything in the end. So... All right, moving on. Let's see what else we got. Have you found that you have to change your end of the event questions for virtual events?
End of the event questions, meaning
like a survey, Sabrina? This is from Sabrina.
Or do you mean like a testimonial or afterglow?
Yeah. So, I'm not.
Or the way you close the event. Give us more clarity on what you're asking. We'll come back to you because I think it's a good question. I just want to make sure we're answering the question you're asking.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Marcus asked a great question. I love this question. And we actually covered it in our free training, but why don't we chat about it really quickly? What channels do you use to send reminders to boost attendance? Mainly email, voice blast, text, Facebook Messenger, others. Yeah. So Marcus, one of the things that we covered in the free training that we did yesterday, we've done, I think, 6 or 7 of them over the course of the last couple weeks. Every time it's a little bit different because, it's Barry and I, and we banter back and forth, and we flow a little bit differently, but essentially it's been the same content and not evergreen, right? A lot of people have asked, are you guys doing these pre-recorded? And we just...
they're actually live.
Yeah, we love to hang out, and chat and have a good time doing it. And we just feel like we're more effective when we can interact with the audience. Well, it's sort of like a live event.
We like having people with us. So we do it a lot because it's helping us to get to know what your questions are and what you most want to learn.
Absolutely. So to answer your question, we do 4 things. The 4 key things to get people to show up and stay. The first thing that we do is there's no recordings of the live events. So the 3 events that we've done previously, as well as the virtual event on virtual events, there isn't a recording offered with the general admission ticket.
Yeah, because if you were to go to a real in-person event, if you were to stay up in your room and miss a session, we're not then going to automatically give you a replay because you missed it. Mm-hmm. And so our belief is that the reason people treat webinars so casually is they know they can get the replay. They can watch it when they want to watch it. So if you want people to stay, to show up, no recordings, no replays.
Yep.
What's the second one?
Yeah, the second one, and incidentally, in almost all of our clients' cases, including our event next week, there's an upgrade option to get a VIP, or in our case, we're calling it all access package that gives you the recordings for the live events. It doesn't come for 30 to 60 days after the event takes place, for a couple of reasons. Not just getting people to show up. We're going to be indexing ours and making them completely searchable so you can find exactly what you're looking for, not just the video that it took place or the session, but the exact moment in time.
Type in a keyword, it'll take you right to that place.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So that was number 1, no replays or recordings. Are you going to do 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah, number 2, just really quickly, swag box. So the best email reminder you could possibly have is a guy from FedEx knocking on the door, handing you a package that is, here's your swag box, which is a physical reminder of, oh yeah, I've got that live event thing this weekend. That's going to be exciting. In fact, folks who registered for the virtual event on virtual events are already starting to receive them. I got a text message from somebody in Canada who got their box already.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen mine.
Yeah.
So
I think because you don't normally get a swag box with a webinar or a live stream or a teleseminar. So again, you're looking for ways to draw a line in the sand and distinguish your virtual event experience from what people are going to perceive it as, because it's all they know up until now, because this is all very new: a webinar, a teleseminar, a telesummit, a live stream.
So
and then number 3 and 4.
Well, the 3 and 4, I'm just going to say 1 was an in-person check-in and 4 was gamification. We covered that pretty in depth in the trainings multiple times. So in the interest of being able to answer a few other questions, those trainings are all recorded. If you can't
go deep on those. So,
if you can't find the recordings and you want to review them before you come to the event, or even if you're not coming to the event, you want the recordings, just fire us an email at events@poweredbysage.com, and our team will get you the most recent recording. Let's see. Jared Hatch. When do you think AR, VR events will become a viable option? Jared, sometime in 2030. In all seriousness, your biggest challenge right now with VR anyway is headsets. And first off, not very many people have them. Second off, they're expensive. Third off, the batteries don't last. Fourth, you've got an equilibrium issue. Not everybody can actually wear them without getting dizzy or sick. So lots of issues. When will AR become an option? Probably when Apple releases their sunglasses or their glasses that have AR capabilities built into them. Because of all of the companies out there, I mean, listen, for all the haters of Apple that there are, the reality is they take existing technologies, simplify them, and produce them for the masses, and in a way that make them usable and functional. So if I had to guess, you're not going to see real AR until you have an augmented reality tool that is accessible and mass-produced. So I don't think that's in our near future, although I love the idea of it because I'm a nerd.
When it is ready, we hope to be first on that bandwagon.
Yeah, well, maybe the 4th. I want other people to make the mistakes first.
Fair enough. We'll be 4th on the bandwagon.
All right. Mary Lynch Barbera. Hi, Barry and Blue. My parents watch all my lives. Question: has anybody tried a 1 or 3 day event, but only 5 or 6 hours? 8.5 hours, 3 days in a row seems like a lot, especially over weekend when kids, families are around. Also, the offer for a high ticket program late in day 2, event past 7 p.m. time, and tentative end time seems like you might miss people. So great question. Our first event, he decided not to have evening sessions, but people stuck with us. And it also depends on where your audience is.
And asked for more, which led to us extending the hours, which was interesting. The second event, the host went way over, in part because he had such great content, lots of great questions, and people stuck with us. But I will tell you this, Mary, I have been toying with a compressed schedule that we haven't tried yet. And I've had a couple consulting days where people are paying us to get our feedback on how to make virtual events work specific to their event. And the one that we had yesterday, really, I mapped out a whole new version, a virtual event that would have it be more compressed with an hour session, a 15-minute break, an hour session, a 30-minute lunch, an hour session, a 15-minute break, an hour session end. And if you did that, it's more like an 11 to 5 schedule, so more what you're talking about. I think it's doable. You could do 11 to 5 on day 1, 11 to 5 on day 3. And if you're doing an enrollment model for a high-ticket offer, I think you still need some end cap after the offer. So I think that day would end up going to 11 to 6:30 or maybe 7, but it gets you closer to those compressed hours you're talking about. If you do less than that, and we do know of some people who have and had great success with it, I mean, generated, close to 7 figures with it, but it does start to feel like a bunch of webinars strung together. It's like short little bursts. And I think it has more of that feeling of a webinar than a live event experience, which leads me to the last thing. I'm going to answer the question you didn't ask, which is the question behind the question, I think. we always think it's form follows function. So part of the answer and how long it needs to be is what the value delivery is. Like, what are you promising the audience you're getting them? And is that doable in that short amount of time? Like, is it truly doable? The reason that we've landed on 3-day events is kind of our bread and butter in the in-person world, and we're keeping them 3 days in the virtual world, is that you need about that amount of time to take people on the journey and to really captivate them and to get the foundations together and then to get them to accelerate on that and to build on that and to have a real transformation and enough information for it to be actionable. And so, I think the real answer to your question lies in mapping out what's your big why, who is it designed for, what would make them a raving fan? What do they need to be a raving fan? And what are your non-negotiables around it? If timing might be part of that, or not having it on a weekend, or not having it go into the evening, that might be part of that. Those things, and then the content you need to create that raving fan for those right fit clients dictates what the timing should be for your event. And don't ever forget that, because it's for any of you, not just Mary. And so often we see with high ticket offers and programmatic lances, people Frankensteining things together and just modeling what they think people are doing based on what they're seeing versus actually sitting down and thinking, what does my audience need? And if I meet them where they are, what does this need to look like? I happen to know, Mary, that your audience is parents who have autistic children. And so if you have an autistic child at home and possibly other children at home, you may need to compress the hours for your specific audience. That's worth thinking about. But don't forget the other stuff also.
Yeah. All right. So let's actually next talk.
By the way, virtual event on virtual events, we were talking about that. The first day is strategized, the second day is virtualized, and the third day is actualized. So we're going through that exact journey.
For sure. And if you're not already registered for the virtual event on virtual events, you can get yourself registered by going to pbsage.com/TVE. So the virtual event. I'll throw up let's see if I can do this. We're running solo today. It's just me and Barry, so I'm actually controlling stuff from my computer.
No, Christian. Oh, impressive.
Right? You like that?
So there you go. Pretty. There it is on the footer, pbsage.com/TVE, which stands for the virtual event.
Yeah, and if you have PB standing for peanut butter sage.
It does not stand for that. It stands for Powered by Sage. Powered by PB, powered by.
Yeah. We should call it pbjsage.com.
You for real right now.
I know, it's awesome. All right, Victoria Clements, love the sunset we sent out through Telegram. Thank you very much. For those of you who are registered for the virtual event on virtual events, we have a private Telegram broadcast group that where Barry and I, throughout the course of the next week or so, are just sharing stuff that's going on for us as we lead up to the event.
Literally as it happens.
Yeah. So good times. Let's see. Kira responding about what type of event. So she said a hosted event online, but virtual summit. So this actually led me down another thought process. So I'm not sure if this is your question, but I'm going to answer it how I see it anyway.
What do you think it is? You tell us if we got it right or not.
There's a couple things going on right now. You know, you've got these online summits, which are amazing, and those are multi-day, multi-speaker events, and they tend to be on demand, right? You can access a particular talk at a particular time, and sometimes if you pay for depending on what the model is, sometimes if you pay for the upgrade, you have lifetime access to the recording. Sometimes if you don't, you can watch the recording for 24 hours. For those of you that don't already know, those tend to be list builders, right? So people are hoping that all of the different hosts will share the summit with their audience, which generates leads. Prior to a few years ago, or when they started becoming virtual summits, or which are video based, they were called telesummits. So the model has been around for a while. It's been modified slightly for video. You could go live with a virtual summit and actually have it be a specific format. That would look very much like, I haven't seen these in a while, but multi-speaker events where you have like 10 speakers who come in and speak over the course of a day. And oftentimes those style of events, it was actually probably the first event I actually went to, was a Glazer Kennedy multi-speaker event where over 2 days, it was in Baltimore, I think, actually. And what wound up happening is every speaker came out, They spoke, they gave great content for like 60 minutes, and then they make an offer, a 15-minute opportunity for you to go deeper, learn more. And they're revenue generating events. And I think that model could work as well virtually. Generally speaking, though, we tend to lean towards single speaker events with a couple of guest speakers where it is single host sharing their knowledge, right? So the virtual event on virtual events is a good example of that. It's going to be Barry and I probably 90% of the time. And we do have, John Berghoff is going to be speaking as a guest speaker, and we have a couple of other surprise guests, but they're short, right? It's not like all of a sudden you're not going to see Barry and I for 90 minutes.
Yeah, in fact, sometimes we're interviewing them. So
exactly.
Yeah, I think of it more as special guest stars who are a complement to what we're teaching. So, there are the multi-speaker sales events, there are multi-speaker content events, and then there are, primary host events where it's primarily that one person with some special guests with additive content that really helps nail the messaging and bring it home.
For sure.
We tend to specialize in the latter.
Yeah. Let's see. I see a couple new people joined. Christopher Duggan. Hey, Christopher.
Hey
nice
there.
to see you.
Hi, Dana.
Dana Abram also.
Hi, Dana. Good to see you.
Or Abraham. Abraham.
Oh.
I'll get there. Abraham. It's the same
yeah,
person. I just said it wrong. Yeah,
all right. Good to see you.
All right. Let's see. Robin asked, what's the time commitment for the 3 days and in what time zone? So I assume you're asking about the virtual event on Virtual Events, our event.
But it actually answers a question that is also, what are we recommending in general?
Yep.
So what we're doing is also what we're recommending.
So our event days are going to be starting at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and it's going to go to 7:30 on Friday. It's going to go till about 8:30 on Saturday and about 5:30 on Sunday. Reason we picked 11 o'clock start time and a pretty late end time Eastern time is because we know that the majority of the people who are registered for our event are North America.
Yeah.
Right. So
you do have to factor that in.
Exactly. From East Coast all the way to West Coast. So based on that, we're looking at it and saying, okay, 11 o'clock is it's a good time for your adults. They can spend, at least on the East Coast, they can spend their morning with their kids, get them ready for school, get a little homeschooling in right now, if that's what's going on in your house, and then hopefully spend the rest of the day with us. There are, in the case of our event, as well as the events that we've hosted previously, there's, about a 20 to 30 minute break mid-morning. There's about a 20 to 30 minute break mid-afternoon. We have a 60 to 75 minute break for lunch. We're still debating how long that's going to be. So you don't go straight from 11 o'clock in the morning until 7:30 at night. That
and
would
we
be
encourage during the breaks, like there's either interactive networking or there's time with sponsors to get questions answered or time to grab meals or time to we encourage you, get up, walk around, move your legs, get outside, come back in. Don't be late, come back in. But, get them moving because nobody can sit just sit and sit and sit and sit. Yeah. It's part of why, to that earlier question about breakouts, why we think that's so important, and is interactivity for your brain. And then you also need interactivity for your body. And so encouraging people to get up and move, I think, is important. But those hours seem to be working really well. Again, we'll test it this weekend. And I think there's an opportunity to shorten them a tad, but not a ton.
For sure. Let's see. Does the ticket to the live event include the recording for those of us who can't attend for 3 days? Julia, the short answer is no. Very much like our own clients and what we've recommended for them, we're taking our own medicine. So this is a live event, and we hope that you show up live. Now, you can purchase the All Access upgrade, which is an additional $197. And then you'll get the recordings 30 to 60 days after the event takes place. So there is an option for the records. It's just a total of $294. If you wait until midnight tonight, it'll be $494. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Julia also said, great job on A360i. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun event. And
Appreciate that.
Pete's a great presenter. Pat's a great presenter. That was a fun event to work with.
Yeah. Victoria says she can't wait to get her Canadian swag box. Love that. I like that we're calling it the Canadian swag box. Just so you know, it is the same as the American swag box.
It's true. Yeah, and the international swag box, interestingly. Like, as long as you get your registration in by today, internationals get that too.
Yeah. Robin asked, am I showing up in the chat? Yes. What time is the event next weekend? Robin, I think we just answered that.
Yeah.
So I'm working my way through it. Be patient. We're here until all of these questions get answered.
Did we go back to the question on ending the event? Did we cover that one? Like how you end the event?
I haven't gotten to the response for that yet.
Okay.
Okay. Donna said she registered last week. She's looking forward to the swag. Glad to have you with us, Donna. Thank you. Jason says she just registered. And he's also looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. And for those of you that are registering, you're going to get an invite to Telegram. You really need to join that. So I think someone was asking earlier about how you get people to show up. I think Telegram is one of those ways that works both for in-person and virtual. Really great communication resource that allows us to quickly blast tidbits out to you, video, comments, polls to find out more about what you're doing. You're going to see a couple polls in there.
Yep.
Super simple, like short little burst of, would you choose A or B? Do you like one or two, that kind of thing. That just helps us to get to know the audience better as we're designing the content and making it a really great experience for you. So big fan of Telegram, easy to use. And if you're coming to our event, we really want you to get on it.
Well, and here's the cool thing. It's free. Right?
Yeah, it's free too. It's not like something you have to pay more for.
It's free for you as the user, but just as importantly, it's free for us.
Yeah, and so many fewer distractions than Facebook groups. So
just something for you to consider if you're going to be doing your own virtual events, which I hope you are. Yeah. How do you sign up for the all access package, Julia? On the thank you page for the first page that you get to after having registered for the virtual event on virtual events, there is a one-click button to allow you to upgrade to the All Access Pass. If you've gotten past that and you don't see that anymore, it's in your confirmation email. If you don't see that, email us at events@poweredbysage.com, and I'll fire you over a link that you can upgrade your ticket with. Yeah. Diana, can you repeat the 5 points, please?
The 5 points.
Diana, Barry and I just have been chatting randomly, and we may have said 5 things. I have no idea what they're about. Will you do me a favor? Just say, 5 points.
I think it might have been 4 points. It was no recordings.
Oh yeah.
It was send a swag box.
These are the four keys to getting people to show up.
4 keys to show up. And you know what? You could use Telegram as the 5th if you want to. But
there you go.
One is no replays or recordings unless they're delivered 30 to 60 days after, like ours are. 2, in-person tech check. You want people to come into registration. If you guys have questions about that, happy to answer that. Have a swag box to differentiate yourself from a normal virtual event. And what are you laughing about?
I'm laughing about Victoria, who says, you're going to kill me if I keep saying peanut butter sage.
Yes, I am. I really am. I've asked him multiple times not to do that. And then now you made me forget the 4th one. The 4th one is gamification, which we like to think of as funification, which is rewarding people for taking action. So those are the 4. You could add Telegram if you want to, because I think it is a good stick strategy, but it's not as important as the other 4. The other 4 are really the primary ones. Yeah. And yes, it is powered by Sage, pbsage.com/TVE, the virtual event.
Exactly. It is poweredbysage.com/TVE. All right. Let's see. Melissa says, see you guys tomorrow. Got to hop off. Is she coming down here?
I don't know. I would love that. Is she?
I don't know. It is. Diana said yes, 4, sorry. So she's got it. Kyle Laurie says hello. What's up, Kyle?
Love Kyle Laurie.
Which hotel chain is it? I know
Alhai. He's our good friend at Alhai. He helps us with associated luxury hotels. Some of our favorite brands are under the Alhai flag. And Kyle is amazing at helping us just work through details with those hotels and make it all happen. I forget, Kyle, how long we've known each other, but it has been a while. For you guys that are new to the hospitality industry, one thing to know for sure is that none of us leave it, right? We cycle around, we end up in different places sometimes, but we never leave it. Some of my hotel contacts I've literally known for over 20 years, which is crazy, but true. Because, we all live, love, and leverage live events. And, in this difficult time where people are working through force majeures and exercising cancellations, it's easy to demonize your hotel partners and, look at this as a combative situation. And you have to remember that they are really hurting. I mean, it is not just the people that own the hotels, but the rank and file, the bellmen, the servers, the maids, the cooks, the sous chefs. I mean, all the people that, many of whom are hourly, that are really being hard hit by COVID and by, being furloughed and by losing their jobs. I mean, it's I don't know how long it's going to take the hotel industry to recover from this, but I do think that virtual events are a path to keeping the live event business alive, to keeping companies like ours alive, to keeping your dreams alive, so that when COVID goes away, we can go back to in-person, because that really is the goal, not to replace in-person events, but to have an and, not an or. It's another opportunity. And certainly it's another way to serve your audience, to deliver content, to deliver connection, deliver community, all those things that are so important and probably needed more right now than ever. And if you're able to keep your businesses alive and your client businesses alive, then by extension, you're keeping the hospitality industry alive, because if you survive this, there's no doubt that we're going to be going back to in-person events, and they're going to be better than ever, because people are going to be chomping at the bit to get together in person. Virtual's amazing. We love it. We're spending 3 days telling you exactly how to do it and getting incredible results. Like right now, virtual events are outperforming in-person events. Like the virtual event we're running this year, which is was run last year or the year before, outperforming. So it's doing amazingly well. But I don't think it replaces in-person events. I think it becomes an and, not an or.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Culture Productions asked if it is in U.S. dollars. Yes, it's in U.S. dollars. I am Canadian, but I live down here in the U.S., so everything's in U.S. dollars these days.
He followed a girl.
I did. I came to the United States about a girl. Let's see. JT says Barry is so amused. Yep. I believe somebody else says that you're going to kill me at any moment now. Let's see. Evelyn says she didn't realize she had a photo on there. How do you change it? I have no idea, Evelyn. It's Rumble Talk is new to us. Jimmy asks, and Jimmy, it's interesting. You're not the only one who's asked this question. So I've been contemplating whether or not it's something that we can do. But the question was, do you get a certificate of completion after the event? So as of right now, the answer to that question is no. But I have been toying around with the idea of including a certificate of sorts through the gamification process.
I love that. So, I say yes. Let's make it happen.
Well, you say yes, and then I have to figure out how to make it happen.
Jimmy, it's his task for the weekend, how to make certificate of completion happen through the funification process.
Yeah. So let me tell you what I was contemplating.
And underneath, I want it to say, this one's for you, Jimmy. I really do.
This one's for you, Jimmy.
I really do want that. Try and make that happen.
That's awesome. All right. So Jimmy, what I've been contemplating is having an exercise that at the end of each event you have to do, like a short question or something that you have to share with us, and then
proves that you.
Yeah, exactly. And then people who actually submit all of those questions or all of those exercises at the end of the event then get a certificate of completion. So I've been toying around with that and whether or not I can do it through the gamification process. I cannot promise that will happen.
I'm going to make him a gin and tonic and see if he can.
Listen, the more gin you give me, the less likely it is to happen.
Time. Like that's usually how I get things done. I'm like, how about we had a cocktail together and figured out how to make Jimmy's dream happen. Let's try and have a certificate of completion.
I don't know that it's Jimmy's dream to have a certificate of completion.
It is in my head.
Okay. All right. So, Jimmy, that's a really long answer to a simple question. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll try.
Let's see. Antoinette asks a question about the Telegram group. So, Antoinette, I saw your email. I haven't had a chance to respond to it yet, or maybe my team has, but there's a couple issues that we had with the directions that we gave for the Telegram group this morning. Yeah. And the link that we gave for the Telegram group, if you register, I sent it out this morning. It's in your confirmation email, but then I sent out another email early this morning if you had registered before about 10 o'clock this morning that told people that the link actually doesn't work unless you have Telegram installed. And I didn't realize that.
Got it. So you've got to install. So first you have to register for the event.
Yep.
Then you'll get an invitation in your confirmation. Then you install Telegram, which is super easy and it's free.
Yeah, you just go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and set up your free account on your phone. And then once you do that on your phone, click on the link and it'll work.
Good to go.
So,
and keep in mind, Telegram we're going to use to communicate with you next week before the event, but also during the event. So updates are coming to you through Telegram during the event. Again, just because it's so much simpler, you don't get people lost in Facebook where you go to get an update but end up Googling your high school friend or whatever. So Telegram, streamlined and easy. That's how we're communicating.
Yep. Bill, I know we had a 2:00 call. I apologize. I missed it.
Seriously?
Yeah. No, Bill says, sorry we missed each other in connection. And I have a call right at the end of this, and I'll call you at the end of that. This and that. How about that? So yeah, I'll give you a try tonight, Bill, probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock. If that's not good, I'll leave them. If you don't answer, I'll leave a message and you can call me back.
Give me your phone.
What? Why?
I'm going to put it on your calendar so you don't forget.
It's on my calendar already. It wasn't that I missed it.
Okay.
We were on the phone with Mary Morrissey.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a legit excuse. That was actually.
Yeah, I had a client call. I was in the middle of.
But do you want to move it so you don't forget?
Well, do we have to do that right now?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I'll forget.
Do you have any recommendations for where to get swag boxes fulfilled?
Yes.
Yes, Lana.
We love Brand Elevate. And listen, there's a lot of companies out there that do a great job, but I have to tell you, Mike and the folks at Brand Elevate have so exceeded our expectations. And we have a mantra at Sage, Expectations Plus. And Mike and his team, I cannot tell you how many hoops they've jumped through to get the boxes printed, the workbooks printed, and the other stuff, which I can't mention because I'll ruin your surprise. But you know, it was fairly last minute. We put this event together in less than 30 days just because we had so many requests for, can we have a consult? Can we jump on a call? It was just like, we couldn't keep up with it. And finally, one of the folks in our mastermind, Reed Tracy from Hay House, said, you guys really need to do an event on this. Like, you do events, do a virtual event on virtual events. And we're like, we should do that because we really are dying under the weight of all the requests of questions we're getting that we really want to answer. There's just not enough time in the day. So like, great, the virtual event on virtual events. So long story long, we put it together in less than 30 days. We started working with Mike and the folks at Brand Elevate. And I think they have such quality product. They're an amazing team. They're super supportive. They have jumped through so many hoops to make this all happen. Because if you know anything about me, I'll be like, oh, I would love to add this. I think I added 7 things to the swag box from the original plan for the swag box. And he made all of that happen. And from what I'm seeing, they're arriving beautifully packaged and in really good shape, which is another part of the battle, right? It's not just getting it printed. It's getting them assembled beautifully. It's getting them out and it's having them arrive to you beautifully. And you know what FedEx is like. We love our folks at FedEx, but it's like here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, use a good shipper and, good fulfillment house. And then also know that things are taking longer these days, right? So 2-day shipping is not guaranteed 2-day in the world of COVID. And a lot of this product comes from China. And so that's a thing. There's a lot of delays and a lot of products you can't get. And so if you're used to just kind of doing a last minute sprint on swag or print and product, definitely build in a buffer right now because you can't assume you can have a super tight turn.
For sure. Let's see. There's a couple of other things. First off, Chris Smith is watching, and Chris is on your side, Bill. He has moved the call that we had to after this live stream.
Smith.
So
I just know how busy he is. Like, he really has got a lot going on. I was worried he'd forget.
Yeah, well, I think
Blue Melnick has never been busier. Is it safe to say you've never been busier?
I've never worked harder. I've been busier. I've just never worked harder. I don't like to work.
He doesn't.
I really don't.
He doesn't.
I would like to do only the things
I do all the work and he makes all the meals.
Yeah, Barry is 100% the workhorse.
It's actually simplifying it. He's always been an amazing worker, but right now there's some things that he can do that I can't do, so he's having to do the work too. He's really amazing.
We have our moments. All right. Bill also asked, what precautions do you take regarding power outages, internet outages, or weather like hurricanes? And given that you live in South Carolina, where I do, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So here's the thing. First off, if you're going to host a live event and you know that there's virtual or otherwise, and you know there's a hurricane coming, you probably have a force majeure situation and you need to either relocate your event or cancel it entirely. So let's just start by saying no, nothing is guaranteed, especially when it comes to hurricanes. But outside of that, I'll tell you what we do in Zoomzilla, in the studio that we have in Charlotte, where we're going to be doing our event from and where we've done our previous events from at this point. So first off, we have a generator that runs as a almost all of our equipment actually as a backup. So it's a failover. So if the power does go down, it kicks on over to the generator, and the generator can run for like 5 days on a tank of gas. So that's one thing. Number two, we have 2 internet connections that either one of them by themselves can maintain the entire stream, and they're load balanced. So we have a piece of hardware. They're not terribly expensive. You're just looking for a router that can take 2 broadband internet connections. And there's a bunch of them out there. Cisco makes one. The one we have is from a company called Ubiquiti. And they're a little bit more complicated to set up, but there are people out there who can help you with it. And they're not terribly expensive. You can get the super high end ones.
The peace of mind is worth it.
The peace of mind is worth it because the way they tend to work is you basically get double the internet connection most of the time, and if one of the internet connections go down, then all the traffic goes to the other one.
Yeah.
So
you want that.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. Let's see. Do we have, that was the swag box question. Do you create a Facebook or platform for community and conversations to continue around after, before the event, as in a Facebook group? Andrew, so this was a question that we put out to the folks on Telegram, actually, and asked if they wanted a Facebook group, and the general consensus was yes. So right before this event or this live stream started, I was in the midst of finalizing the details on the Facebook group.
But look how helpful Telegram is. You could ask them and they told you, and then you did it.
Exactly. So we are going to have a Facebook group for this particular event. I think it's a great tool to use. It is going to be a fairly lightly moderated. Barry and I are not going to be terribly active inside the Facebook group. That really is going to be kind of the hallway, right? An area for attendees to interact with each other. We're going to use our primary point of communication is going to be through Telegram. Just because it's much easier on the go. We can very easily, it's just like text messaging for us. We can record a video, we can take a picture, we can record an audio, we can write a text, or we could poll you guys, which we'll be doing throughout the event as well. So that's what we're thinking for the virtual event on virtual events. It's also what our clients do as well. All right, Sean, I plan a national multi-day, multi-speaker conference with about 700 attendees for a small nonprofit. Would the virtual event on virtual events be helpful for me moving forward with virtual? So, Sean, I'll tell you the same thing that we told somebody who asked this question yesterday.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of questions about nonprofit, and it's near and dear to my heart because I started in the nonprofit space. Like when I graduated from college, I spent about a decade working in nonprofit trade associations. And we still, our very first client when we opened our doors is a nonprofit trade association. They're still a client today. NAPIO, we love them. The National Association of Professional Employer Organizations. And I can tell you that we're virtualizing a number of things right now. We took something that normally is an in-person meeting and turned it into 5 individual cocktail hours every other week over the course of 10 weeks. We're getting great participation on that. They love it. It's top CEOs. They got a swag box. They had an in-person check-in. There are no replays or recordings, like all the things that we preach. But for this crowd who's super busy running their businesses, and they're especially busy during COVID, they still want leadership and content, connection, and community. So we just broke it up over cocktail hour. It's at 6 o'clock on Wednesday nights every other week for 10 weeks. We have sponsors for it. It's worked out really well. We have breakouts, speaker, content, breakouts, and cocktails and conversation. So it's been a runaway hit. And their annual event is in September. And we're kind of, we're wrapping our arms around, is this going to actualize? If it does, do we need to do a hybridized version with everything from their trade show to their speakers to their breakouts? And in their case, their breakouts, I'm not talking about a Zoom breakout. I'm talking about a true concurrent breakout, different speakers, different topics. And the conclusion we came to on a call this week is we can. And so we're actively designing that right now so that we can pivot. If it's in person, great. If it's not, we're ready to go fully virtual. And we're also ready to land in the middle, which is to hybridize it, which I don't recommend for everyone, but I think for trade associations could be a really good option, especially with the caveat we will never do this again, or we may never do this again. I mean, this is a special opportunity that their audience has never had before due to the COVID situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's actually an exciting time in the meetings industry, regardless of whether you're for-profit, nonprofit, running an enrollment event or a signature event, an annual event. We've gotten questions about fundraisers, about theater, about galas. You know, the reality of the virtual event on virtual events is we're going to focus on a 3-day enrollment event. But I would say, we were debating this, probably 70% of the content will apply to any style event. And of course, it's up to you and your creativity and your innovation to do that. But a big part of what we're talking about is, how does the tech work, and how do you take things you love in person and virtualize them, and how do you design the program to work, and how do you integrate breakouts, and how do you deal with liability? There are different liabilities with a virtual event than there are with in person. We have an amazing contract attorney who's been advising us on that, and it's really interesting, things we hadn't even thought of that you really need to pay special attention to, or you could end up in some hot water. So yeah, I think about 70% of it applies, and at $97. Feels like that's still a good deal. Right? I think it is.
I love that approach. At $97, it feels like it's a good deal. All right, so a couple of other quick questions. There was a question about, I'm not looking to do major events, just smaller virtual events. I guess that's why I'm on the edge. Is next weekend for me or not? Jenny, so yes, 100%, it's for you.
Yeah, and here's the thing. We say this for all events. So first of all, here's the thing. Live events, one thing, and then you have two options: in person, virtual. But they're both live events. They're both under that umbrella. So whether you're doing virtual, which I would consider online, or in person, which we consider offline, we look at both as a live event. Because of that, we have a course called Rush, the Live Event Blueprint. It's about how to help people for events that are doing 5, 50, 500, 5,000 or more. And the reason we say that is that the very same strategies you use for 5 people, you use for 50 people, you use for 500 people, you use for 5,000 plus. And you also use different niches, different markets, different countries, different languages. We've tested all of that. So I especially love you using it for small events because, for you guys, it's all scale, right? If you're small, $12,000 in a day is somebody else's $1 million in a day, right? And get started now, because there's no liability. Like if you've been sitting on the sidelines because your events are small, it's especially awesome for you because there's no hotel contract, there's no liability, there's no overhead, there's no food and beverage minimum, there are no rooms, significantly less expensive to produce. So not only are you likely to gross more, you can net more. And let's tell our 12K in a day story.
Sure.
Because Kelly's a great example of that.
Yeah, Kelly is a great example of that.
And this is good for all of you, not just Jenny. I mean, I just think if you're looking to be inspired and see what's possible, let's talk about Kelly Schaefer and how awesome she is.
Yeah, so Kelly is in a program with us called Rush, the Live Event Blueprint, that she enrolled in last summer. And it's a program that teaches people how to do live events, not virtual, but in-person live events, start to finish, and enrollment events. And she had an event planned for end of April. I don't remember the exact date, actually. I think it was like the 28th. Actually, it was a multi-day. And much like everybody else, her event got postponed till right now, September, October, somewhere in that range. And we were talking with her after we had hosted our first virtual event, and we said, why don't you do a virtual event? It doesn't have to be super long. It doesn't have to be a 3-day. It can't, but you have these people who had already signed up for an event with you. They already had the time. Why don't you do something? So she decided, great, I'm going to do a 1-day event. She got like 28 people to go to her 1-day event. And over the course of the day, she ran through our process. And at the end of it, she made a high ticket offer for $2,000. She got 6 people to enroll out of 28, 6 people to enroll in her $2,000 program, which is a $12,000 plus payday from her virtual event. Those are people that she's going to continue to serve at a higher level over the course of the next 6 to 12 months.
Well, and on a bigger level, so there's 28, her market's concierges, 28 concierges who are faced with dwindling or no business right now. But she knows how to rescue them from that. So 28 people attended her 1-day event and learned that. And then another 6 people who really wanted to go deeper and have additional help and accountability and support and paid that $2K to get Kelly's help doing that. Making $12K in a day is awesome, I think. And it's a wash, rinse, repeat that she's got going. But it's also awesome that she got to help 28 people. And if she does it again, that's another 28 people and another 28 people. So often for our audiences, it's not just the purpose-driven payday. That's how we think of a live event, right? It's purpose-driven and it's a payday. Our clients generally don't just want to make money. They want to have a legacy. They want to have impact. And we often say impact before income. We all want to make money doing the thing that we love doing. We want to be paid well for it, but we also all want to have impact. I mean, that's part of how you end up with a $97 ticket to the virtual event on virtual events. It's just, we know this is doable. We want to help as many people as possible to do it. We can only do so many virtual events. There's only so many days in a week and in a year. And so, but it's easily replicatable. And we are like, let's get this message out there so that you can do it too. Whatever your audience is thinking that same thing. Like, you have the keys to help them do the thing that they really want to do. And my guess is during COVID, can't think of any industry that's not being hard hit by this. During COVID, they need you now more than they ever did. So there's never been a better time to get out there. There's never been an easier time to get out there. There's never been less overhead to get out there. And your audience has never needed you more.
100%, top to bottom. Love that. Rebecca asked, how does she get access or information about registering for the virtual event on virtual events? You can go to PB or powered by Sage, pbsage.com /TVE. If you want full details on the event, there's a second page. It's actually pbsage.com /TVE. V, add one extra V for video. Yeah. And there's about a 12-minute long video that Barry and I included on that page that gives you the basic rundown as to what's going to be covered on that event. If you still have questions after that, just reach out to us at events@poweredbysage.com and we will get you taken care of.
Have you ever been so busy running other people's virtual events that you couldn't put together a sales page for your own event?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if you feel like you can resonate with that, then you know our story. I don't think we've ever been busier, seriously, between fielding questions and calls and helping our clients, helping them navigate. Should they cancel? Should they postpone? Should they keep their event? Should they virtualize it? And then helping friends who've been reaching out saying, can you answer a quick question? Could you take a quick call? Which of course you want to do. We're a small industry and we love helping each other, but it has been insanely busy. And I think I had the task on my to-do list for like a week and a half to create the sales page, and finally like, I'm out. I can't. Hopefully we can put a video up and explain it, and it seems like it's working. So, yes.
Yeah, we're actually really excited to have all of you with us next week who are going to be with us. So let's see. I am looking to see if there's any other questions. Victoria would love to hear a full breakdown on the Cocktails and Conversations module. Sounds fun and effective. We'll probably be doing something similar that like that. We're actually going to be modeling it. If Victoria, I don't remember if you're all access or not. If you are, one of the things that we're doing is we're hosting a small cocktail reception on night 1 and night 2. And unfortunately, it's bring your own cocktail.
But if you register by today for all access, you get a couple special treats to make that easier in your swag box. So Access has their own special swag.
Their own special swag. Swag.
But anyway, we're going to be modeling that during our Ask Us Anything Q&A reception. So yeah, you'll get a taste of that.
Exactly. And I would just like to say this. Coach Amina Z said that...
Amina Z, good to see you.
You're not going to like her when I'm done saying what she said.
Oh no, I love her. Why are you saying that?
She said that the peanut butter actually helped her remember the link.
All right, Amina. Only because I love you am I going to let that slide.
peanutbuttersage.com /TVE. There it is. I'm going to keep saying it now.
All right. I'll cave in on that one, but only because Amina said so. She's a smart lady, so if she thinks it's working, it's probably working.
That's really awesome. I see Jonathan Christian is with us, just joined us. Welcome, Jonathan. Glad to have you here. And hey, guys, we're at about the hour and 5-minute mark. I did block 2 hours on my calendar, so we can go as long as you would like to. So any other questions about the virtual event on virtual event, or any questions just on virtual events? Because this isn't This isn't us just saying come to the virtual event on virtual events.
Or honestly, in-person events. I mean, they're not happening right now the way we envision them, but we're happy to answer questions on that while we're here with you. It is the thing that we love most. I mean, again, I just want to make sure that it's super, super clear that we're not trying to suggest that virtual events will take over and replace in-person events. We fully believe that in-person events are going to come back alive and kicking and be stronger than ever before. And we also believe that virtual events have been so strong and had so much opportunity that they're going to be the new and, not the new or. So,
you got it.
And Jonathan Christian, it's great to see you, by the way.
Theodore Foster asked, do you think that our event will help to do virtual live musical events? And also, incidentally, I'm reading his question because it also says, by the way, I love PBJs.
It's going to be a thing. I'm getting him a t-shirt.
It is. I love PB. I just want a t-shirt that says peanut butter sage.
No, you're going to get a this is in my head. I'm going to tell my team about this. It's going to have a peanut butter jar and then say sage.
All right. Yeah. I'm good with that. PB sage.
Only for you.
Jiffy or Kraft?
I don't know. I mean,
How about Crunchy? Crunchy PBJ.
I like Crunchy.
Crunchy. All right. Dawn, is there a way to see one of the virtual events that we have created?
I don't think you answered the musical question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Theodore.
Yeah. This is a tough one. When I get this question, it depends what kind. So it's weird. I've gotten a couple that are like, I want to hold a concert. I think for that, I mean, would you learn something? Maybe, but it's not really what we're teaching. And then I got another one that once we got a little deeper into it, what she was really doing is holding a conference for people in music with breakouts and speakers. I'm like, oh, well, that for sure, it makes sense. So, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. But if you're talking about a musical performance or a play or a concert, I don't think that's really our specialty. And we're both.
Oh, no, we both know that's not our specialty.
Yeah. And we don't want to mislead you. It's not our wheelhouse.
Nope. So just keep that in mind if you do register.
And I think if you get out there and Google, you'll see some pretty amazing things that are happening out there in the concert world, like famous people putting on fundraisers using music. Think of Jimmy Fallon and what he's doing with these sing-alongs. I mean, there's some people who are super hyper creative that I think you could model. It's just not what we specialize in. Yeah,
for sure. So how's that for an honest question, Theodore? Yeah. If this is not for you, we'd rather not have you spend the money, right? It's this is really meant for speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, small business entrepreneurs looking to use live events to grow their business. That's our wheelhouse, 100%.
Yeah. If you fall in that camp, you won't find anybody better. Like we live, breathe, sleep that.
Yeah.
And concerts, we just like to go to concerts.
I love to go to concerts.
I can't wait till concerts come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawn asked, is there a way to see one of the virtual events that we've created? Dawn, yes, come to ours.
Yeah, and in all seriousness, it's not trying to sell this specifically, but I mean, the whole purpose of this is not only to teach it, but to have you experience it. So every level of what we're teaching, you also experience as an attendee. And I think that's important. Like you'll get your own aha moments going through the process and thinking, what did I love? What would I change? What's an instant up level? What to do differently? Some of our best ahas come from being an attendee at someone else's event, not just producing our own. So you're going to experience it and you're going to learn how to do it.
Yeah. And the reason why it's not possible to see one of the other virtual events that we've created, unless you were here for the beginning, that we showed a 60-second clip of some footage from Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula Live, but there aren't any recordings for these events. And we
don't have permission to share them. Yeah. I mean, not to be, they're not our events. They're somebody else's event that we're producing.
It's somebody else's content, for sure.
Exactly.
So, but the other thing is they're live experiences. So the only way really to get a sense of what it's going to be like is to actually experience it. And if you don't want to experience ours, then there are others out there that, that we're producing in the future that are after that. I know Mary Morrissey has...
Yeah, Dream Builder Live is being virtualized.
Yeah. We're talking with Pedro Adeo.
Offermind is being virtualized.
Offermind is being virtualized. Yeah. A lot of different events that are looking at virtual as a solid way to do them. The one that's the closest that we're producing is ours. And it's, $97 until midnight tonight. Go to peanutbuttersage.com/TVE. That's awesome. Dawn says, thanks. One more, if you don't mind. We produce consumer shows, wedding shows in North Carolina. For us, not for us.
Yeah, that's a really great question. If the primary focus is trade show, not content, I lean toward not for you, only because we have not produced a virtual trade show. We are planning one for September for that nonprofit trade association that we talked about. We haven't actually done it. We have done a lot of sponsorship, and I think we've done a great job converting sponsorships that were highly customized into additional highly customized virtual experiences. But a trade show is a really different beast, and a consumer trade show is a really different beast. I think you'd certainly learn stuff, but it's absolutely not our wheelhouse and not geared toward you. Might be like 10% of the content applies to you. So again, don't want to mislead you. And I know that consumer shows are being really hard hit right now, and people are looking for solutions. And we've looked at a lot of these platforms like Sococo and some of these that offer kind of this concept of Remo, of a virtual trade show. And I think they're interesting. I also have some reservations about them. And there are probably people out there that specialize in that might be better at answering like on a deep level than we would be.
Yeah.
I always like to speak from experience versus guessing, and we'd be guessing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Victoria asked, have we heard any word on when live events might be happening again? No. And here's the thing. Anybody who tells you different is lying, because the reality
lying is a strong word.
Well,
but
they're not. How about
confused.
this? They're not
confused.
being truthful.
Yeah, or they're confused.
Sure. It's not accurate. And they may not be purposefully lying. They may not be purposefully lying, but the reality is nobody knows.
Yeah,
right?
And it varies state by state.
Country by country.
Yeah, we have an event right now where our host is talking to the governor. He happens to be friends with the governor, and the governor's like, they're not happening through the end of the year. And the hotel in that city is like, oh yeah, we're doing it. I'm like, I don't know. So it's really challenging. And I think the other layer of all of this is that they all look really different. Like that many states, I think if not all, are kind of still in a no gatherings bigger than 10 people. That's slowly starting to change as things start to reopen. But as they change, the rules also are changing and shifting literally daily, if not hourly, on are there, do you have to wear a mask? Are there temperature checks at the door? Is it multiple times a day? Is it as people enter the ballroom? Do chairs have to be 3 feet apart or 6 feet apart? Do rows have to be 3 feet apart or 6 feet apart? I mean, it really changes the dynamics of your event. If you had a ballroom for 1,000 and now chairs have to be 6 feet apart, you might have a ballroom for 300. It's a really different experience. And if you're used to having all your people in there together and networking and doing exercises and they're sitting 6 feet apart, that really changes the energy of your event. So it is an active conversation in the hospitality industry, and no one has the answers. Major hotel chains are coming out with guidelines and guidance, and even those are incredibly vague, and even those are changing every single day. Yeah. I would love to tell you that we'll be back in the swing of things this summer. I don't think so. I'd love to tell you it'll be this fall. I was hoping for that. We had our fingers crossed for that. We had moved all the events off our books through Labor Day, and now we're slowly starting to move those September events and those October events because it's just so unclear. And here's one other thing in our space that I think you have to think about, whether you're a trade association or whether you're nonprofit, for-profit, enrollment event, annual event, fulfillment event, you have to fill them. And so the fact that they might actually be open, let's say September 5th, and their employees might be no longer furloughed and they're ready for transient business. They may even be ready for group business. Do you have enough time to fill that event based on the amount of uncertainty there is right now? Will people get on a plane? I think people are still in a big wait and see mode on that. Like I was just watching the Today Show this morning, and they were saying this is like the first year, and I forget how many years that AAA has not put out their guidelines for the number of people they expect to travel on the holiday because they don't think it's significant enough to bother, and that most people are erring to where they can drive versus where they can fly. I do think like American just announced that they just had their busiest day in the last 2 months, but even that is a shadow of its former self. So bottom line, it's just so uncertain. And it's hard to market against uncertainty. And I think that's one of the reasons that our clients have been shifting to virtual so wholeheartedly is it's something they know they can produce. Like we know we can pull off a virtual event, and that removes all the uncertainty. We know that you can do this from the comfort of your own home. That removes all the uncertainty. We don't know when things are coming back for in person. And that, if you're a marketer, that's a tough thing to market against. The media is a tough thing to market against right now.
Yeah. General consensus.
Yeah.
As a country is a hard thing to market against.
Yeah.
Scott said, even though the focus is on 3-day events, will you be showing us how to host 1- and 2-day variations of your 3-day event model as well? what Barry said. Yes.
Yeah.
Plans
In fact, some of you may not be ready for 3 days, so we really recommend a 1 day. If you're just getting started out, much like Kelly Schaefer, 12K in a day or more, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, we will be showing you how you can take a 1 day and eventually expand it to 3, or take a 3 day and condense it down to 1.
Scott also says this is for you. Well, it's for me too, but I know you like to hear these. The two of you have great stage presence, and the comedy is refreshing.
Thank you. You should see us after we've had a cocktail.
I think he's talking about my comedy, not yours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm funny, though. I'm funny.
You tell people that, but
I'm funny. I'm funny. Funnier after a cocktail. You'll get to see that during the VIP reception.
That's awesome. All right. J. Lou, I organize 1 day hiring fairs annually. Is this a weekend for me? I think the answer to that question is similar to Dawn's. That's not our focus. I think that there is stuff that you will get out of it, and you can take it and apply it to your events. And I think looking at your events through the lens of enrollment, not sales, but enrolling your attendees, enrolling your exhibitors, enrolling your, if it's a job fair, your companies that are there to hire, right? Thinking of your event through that lens will probably give you some benefits, but in the end, again, this event is primarily for speakers, authors, entrepreneurs, small business owners, coaches, consultants, people who are looking to use the live event model to grow their business through high ticket offers.
I will tell you this, though, for all you nonprofits that are on this call, or for those of you who are running trade shows, one of the things I see people get most wrong in the event space overall, and it doesn't matter what camp you fall into, info marketer, speaker, author, influencer, nonprofit, for-profit, concert, trade show, is that you get so focused on your goal that you kind of forget about your attendees' goals. And it's one of the reasons the first day of this event is all about strategize. At our company, we're always strategy first. Like if anyone comes to us and says, we want to host an event, we're like, great, why? And then they're like, da-da-da. And they're like, okay, who's it for? And like really drilling down. Not like, oh, we're a trade association for PEOs, so it's for PEOs. It's like, okay, great. Well, how big are they? What size are they? Where do they live? How many employees do they have? What are their biggest struggles? Like all of these issues that really get into the DNA of the event. I think so often we get so busy putting the PAG together and putting the content together and throwing a speaker in and not really getting into the DNA of why are we hosting this event? Who is it really for? What do they really need? What would make them a raving fan? What are our non-negotiables around delivery? What are the things that we stand for and believe in? And what are the things that we don't want to include? It is so easy. And I see this all the time when we inherit an event that has been running for a while. It's been Frankensteined over time. You've just taken all these things that you love and been like, it worked here and it worked here and I love that and that's cool. And you threw them all together and it ends up being crazy. And then a lot of times people are like, I don't know why the event isn't working. It's like, that's probably why, because you Frankensteined it together. So sometimes just that strategy first approach, regardless of what kind of show you're running, that and tech are what we're spending day one on. On day two, we're talking about revenue generation, 7 different ways you can make revenue from your virtual event and pay for your virtual event, many of which convert over to in-person event. And then also how you virtualize it. Like, how do you take the things that you love in person and virtualize them? That's day 2. And then day 3 is actualizing. And that's actually planning out your programmatic glance, planning out your speaker program, your production timeline, your marketing timeline, and your team roles and responsibilities and getting them organized and ready. So strategize, virtualize, actualize. That's what we're doing.
Mary Lynch Barbera, can I do a virtual event without a high ticket offer? To me, those two are big projects, and thought of doing both at the same time is scary. Of course you can. And the only thing that happens is you wind up, it's more of an engagement event than it is an enrollment event. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And that is kind of like, if you think of a trade association, if I look at our trade association clients, their focus is on engagement first. Their enrollment is kind of happening on the back end, meaning if they come to the annual event, you think of a nonprofit trade association, most of their events are gatherings of their membership. The goal is that they have a great gathering. They get content, connection, and community. That's true of any event. That's true of a consumer trade show too, by the way. Content, connection, community. Even if the content is at the individual booths, it's still the content, right? And then The payment, though, isn't through a high ticket offer. The payment is, the big win is at the end of the year or whenever it is you have renewals, when that membership invoice comes along, you had a good enough experience, you felt connected enough to that community that you think it's a no-brainer to renew your membership. So it's a slightly different enrollment strategy, but at the end of the day, it's still enrollment. It's still about how do you get people engaged enough that they want more from you and they come back for more. So that's that answer. And then again, the answer to the question you didn't ask is, should you personally be doing a high ticket offer or even a low ticket offer? And only because I know you and your brand so well and the important work that you're doing and how badly people need it. I mean, my coaching to you would be, I would love to see you try. I would love to see you put something together, because I know that your people need your services, and I know they'll get the deeper transformation they're looking for, not just from coming to a 1 day or 3 day, but working with you on an extended basis, because you're brilliant, you're amazing, and there aren't many people, if anyone, who know what you do the way you know it and can help your people the way you can help them. And that's at the heart of an enrollment event. So
absolutely. Victoria just got her swag box. Woo!
Go team, go. Like, it literally just arrived, Victoria, like it came.
Victoria, I'm collecting photos. So if you would like to send a couple of photos of the box into events at
directly to us. Don't ruin the surprise for other people. Just send it to us.
Events at poweredbysage.com. And a photo of you with it, also awesome.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
If you don't
to
mind,
get mine.
we would love to have
I think it's hilarious that you have yours and we don't have ours yet.
No, she's in Canada too.
Oh, no way. Well, that's good news. That's really good news.
Well, we
sent the internationals early. That's why, because we were worried they wouldn't get to you on time.
Yeah.
So that's working.
Exactly. Well, it's working for unagi. Anyway, so it's working for Canada. I don't know that folks across either pond have gotten theirs yet, but we did ship outside of the United States, so those are on their way. Let's see if there's any other questions. We're used to running product presentations during off-site trunk shows. Mm-hmm. Now we're looking to take these product presentations virtually and potentially our trunk shows virtually.
Love that.
I liked your idea of registration rooms, but is the whole weekend for me. Jenny, I'm going to say the same thing to you that we said to JLou and to Dawn. Probably not the whole weekend. I think a lot of it can apply to what you're doing. But for us, this event really comes down to, again, speakers, authors, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, small business owners, influencers, people who want to build their business through the use of a high ticket offer. Now,
and primarily around content. It's interesting though. I mean, you get my wheels turning.
I love that idea.
Yeah, it would be cool to do that. I'd love to see like a virtual fashion show, and then you're staging different things and showing them how to put them together. You do some content like teaching on like color palettes or what shape is right for you and how to design your perfect closet, what foundational items you absolutely have to have. Like, you could have so much fun with that. But yeah, it's such a personal preference. Again, I think most of it would apply to you, but it's certainly not our specialty doing virtual trunk shows.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. So much of what's happening right now in innovation in our industry is that we're all taking these little pits and going, oh, that's interesting. I bet we could use that over here. So yeah, personal decision there.
Mary says, thank you so much for the answer. That's from Mary Lynch Barbera for you.
Mary.
She can't wait to learn from us next weekend. Adam says, I will send my swag box when it comes. Looking forward to the event. Adam, we are looking forward to having you there. And Dana says she's excited and she's bringing her team too.
Yay, Dana.
Yeah.
Go team, go.
I think it's going to be awesome for you. All right, let me see if there's any other questions in either chat. I've been bouncing back and forth between the one on Sage Hub and the one on Facebook. I don't see anything else on sagehub.com, and I don't see anything else on Facebook stream. So
job well done.
Does Dana, she just corrected she had typed bring in me team. So it's like you were saying it like a pirate. Arr, excited to be bringing me team too. But she really meant my team. So. Less funny when you say it with my, but okay. Sandra says she might have been our first sign up. Sandra, that's entirely possible. New Zealand, right?
Awesome.
Am I remembering this
Wait,
correctly,
are you
Sandra?
from New Zealand?
I feel
you might
like
be the first sign up. Is
yeah,
that right?
I feel like Sandra's from New Zealand.
Like she should get a special present.
At the very least, you're our first sign up from New Zealand.
Yeah. For sure that. I have to track that down. I want to give a prize to the first sign up, so we'll figure that one out.
And Dana said that she thought for sure we would read it that way, which we did. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Guys, it has been fun to hang out with you this afternoon. I just want to, for those of you who are watching this, either watching the replay or watching this live, would love to have you join us for. I know a lot of you are already registered for the virtual event on Virtual Events. If you're not,
it's going to be awesome. We can't wait to see you. In all seriousness, we can't wait to see you. Stick with your decision. Go through check-in. Be there for door opening on day one. Be there ready for an amazing day one, day two, and day three. Plot that information out on your calendar. Let your family know that it is super important work you're doing, not just at the event, but in the world, and that you have to be there. You have to be present. Get them set up with snacks and a movie and whatever it takes so that you can really be fully focused to make the most of this 3 days. Because you could be putting on your own virtual event by June. I mean, the information we're giving you next weekend, you literally, our first event, we put it together in 3 weeks. Our second client event, less than 4 weeks. Our third client event, less than 2 weeks. Our own live event, less than 4 weeks. Kelly Schaefer's event, less than 2 weeks. It is so doable to do this in 30 days. And what that means for you is that you could be taking this and your workbook where you're going to fill out your whole virtual event blueprint and plan, take it, map it out, and do it. So strategize, virtualize, actualize. Your actualization plan could be done by the end of June. You too could have 12K in a day or more by the end of June. That is so exciting to me. That's one of the things I love most about virtual events.
For sure.
And for those of you who haven't signed up, then yes, don't miss it. Like price goes up midnight tonight, goes from $97 to $297. And the all access package goes from what to what? Does it stay $197?
We haven't discussed that. I actually don't know if the all access pass just goes away, to be honest with you.
It goes away because I think we're out of swag boxes for the VIP.
Yeah. So Sandra Angelo. So, all right. Sandra is actually from San Diego. My bad. I was thinking Sandra Julian, who's from New Zealand. So my apologies on that. Dana, will you be converting your current in-person to virtual?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and
absolutely.
And 100%, I have to tell you, that is probably the easiest thing that you have to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because the person to virtual, it's an email, right? It's a little bit more than that. You have to give it some thought, and we'll go through the exact steps. But the reality is, it's a simple process. And especially right now, because I know I think your event was planned for the end of May, was it? Or was it June? It was within the next month or so. And if memory serves, you did not wind up signing your hotel contract, which good on you for not doing that, because listen, at this point, you probably would have been in a force majeure situation, but at least this way you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, the cool thing about this, though, is that not only is it easy to get those folks who are going to be in person to decide to join you virtually, but more people will come along. Like so far, the metrics have been pretty consistent with the 3 to 4x return of what it would have been to what it is when you make it virtual. And that's just because it's more accessible to more people. They don't have to get on a plane. They don't have to get on a train. They don't have to, jump in a car. They just have to put a sign on their door and beg some time from their family. And they're off and running. So, not only are we seeing more people sign up, more global sign up. So again, when you think of a purpose-driven payday, more people reached, more people impacted. Yep. So exciting.
100%. Another question was, do we need Telegram to participate? Sandra, no, you do not need Telegram to participate, but why not get it?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
The app is free, right? Just get it downloaded on your phone. You can delete it on June 1st.
Absolutely. It's not a marketing tool. It's just an easy, streamlined way to keep you guys connected without the clutter of Facebook. So
exactly.
You don't have to, though. If you don't want to, don't. But we'd love for you to try it.
Yeah, download Telegram. It's a free app. So here's one of the reasons why we chose Telegram over WhatsApp, because we were debating between the two. The thing I don't love about WhatsApp groups is the fact that everybody can see each other's cell phone number. And I don't like the lack of privacy there. So the reason that we chose to go with Telegram instead of WhatsApp for a text-based group is that everybody who's in it, it's private. So you don't share your cell phone numbers. You don't share them with me, or you don't share them with other members of the group either.
Yeah.
And it's also not quite as noisy. That is really just Barry and I coming to you. That's not where you guys interact.
No, you do that in the Facebook group.
Exactly. But
it's like us having a bat phone direct to you.
Exactly. We can literally pop in here. You know what? For those of you,
you gonna do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it right now. All right, hold on one second. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey guys, it's Blue
and Barry,
and we're actually live right now on Facebook Live and also on YouTube on SageHub.com.
And we wanted to thank you for joining Telegram, because it's gonna be the primary way we communicate with you. And before the end of the day, we're going to put a quick poll on here.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple questions I want to ask you, because we're designing more content this weekend, and I want to know what you think. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on your Telegram.
Good times. All right. We'll see you soon. And I'm going to go back to the Facebook Live now.
By the way, swag's starting to arrive today for you internationals.
Go swag, go. All right. See you soon.
There you go.
So for those of you who are in the Telegram group, any second now, and the interesting thing as an event host, it's cool to see, because I can see how many people have seen the notification already, right? So 26 people have already seen the message. The one that we sent out earlier today, about 150 people. The one that we sent out a couple days ago, 320 people have seen it.
And how many people are in there right now? Because some people, 558.
Yeah.
Growing.
So, great to have you guys with us in that. 52 people have now seen it. So nice. It's a nice way for you, if you're going to be an event host and you're looking for a nice, easy way to directly communicate with your attendees. Telegram is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. There are a couple more questions. Sandra says she loves new stuff. Julie Helmrich says she loves Telegram. All right.
We love you, Julie. We have used the word funification ever since you taught us the word funify and funification. It is the new gamification.
For sure. Michelle asked, is Telegram a two-way communication tool? So the short answer, Michelle, yes, it can be. The way we're using it for this particular event, it's not. We're using it as a broadcast channel, not as a reception channel. So if you guys have any questions for us, for our team, you can email us, events@poweredbysage.com. Yeah. And both Barry and I are in that inbox on a regular basis, as are a few different members of our team, to help us stay on top of things. But that is really for us to communicate out to you quickly and effectively and easily, and get out of the clutter of email, right? Because there's so many ways.
And even the clutter of Facebook, and even the clutter of WhatsApp. All of those. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
we love it. We're trying it. You try it too.
Yep. It's pretty awesome. All right. So Sandra said, will this be on Facebook or will it be in Zoom? So this is fun. I actually think this is probably one of the cooler things that we do with our virtual events. It's going to be on Zoom, and next Wednesday, you'll get an invitation to the platform. You'll get an invitation to the dashboard where you set up a username and password. Actually, your username is your email address, but you set up a password. You go through the check-in process that we described on our free trainings, and then you get access to all the information that relates to the live events.
And then forevermore, you just go to the dashboard. You don't have to be searching for that link. You just go to the dashboard every time you want to join us in the live event. All the updates are posted there. The funification is there. The point rewards are there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's all going to be there. Nice, easy, one place for you to get all of your information about the event. When it's time to join the event in the morning, our doors open at 10:30 every morning. You just pop onto the website and type in your username and password.
And if any time during the event you have a question, you just go to help desk or the chat that's on the dashboard. So you're not having to figure out, should I email them? Should I Slack them? Should I this? Should I that? No, you just go to the dashboard. You've got our entire team there to help you at help desk, a little button called help desk. You just click that, takes you right to our team. Or do the real-time chat, takes you right to our team.
Yep.
Everything all in one place. It's good.
For really sure. Good. Are we getting dashboard creation training?
We are going to be talking
We're going to be talking about it. That is a little bit more complicated, but
not how to make a dashboard, like the tech, not the engineering of it.
No, it is.
But how to use it and how to think about it.
For sure.
And also for those of you who are tech averse, how to simplify it. Because you can have funification without having a dashboard or having a leaderboard.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how kind of like tech stack. We're teaching you the basics and then how you expand. 1 day basics and then how to expand to a 3-day. And then gamification, basics, and then how to expand it to be a little more super tech.
Yeah. And Victoria, I'll tell you, I mean, yes, I'm a little more technical than Barry, but there are people way more technical than me. I don't know code. I don't know any of that stuff. We just thought creatively about how to create these pages. To answer Mary's question, the dashboard is a WordPress page. So it's a simple WordPress page with a couple of layers, a couple of plugins on top of it, and we'll share all of the details of everything that we do, and I'll even show you quickly the back end of how it works. And from there, you'll have everything that you need to either go forward and do it yourself, because we're using a page builder to do it. I'm not even customizing a template. We're using Elementor, which is a nice drag and drop, or, if you're from the 90s, a WYSIWYG, a WYSIWYG page builder. What you see is what you get. And so it's nice
super
and
simple.
It's nice and easy.
There. Or at least if you understand the basics of it, you could hire someone to do it for you. So it doesn't have to be something you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. I want to know where to get stickers with my face on them. So do I.
So our team loves Sticker Mule. That's where they get all of their stickers, and you can pretty much get anything printed on it. I bet you could have your face on it. We haven't done that, but I think you could do that. And then, you know what we did? I think it's funny to get a cookie with your face on it. I love
a cookie?
Sugar cookies. And I love those decorated sugar cookies where that you could put images on it. In fact, that's not in your swag box, but I wish it had been. That would have been so cute.
Why didn't you think of that?
A little sugar cookie with an emblem
with
on it.
With our face on it?
Team Go. No, that would say like Go Team Go or Peanut Butter Sage or something like that. Anyway, next time, a decorated sugar cookie. That's happening in our next swag box.
For sure. Brian asked, can he have his team watch remotely? Brian, each login is single use, so it'll be tied to a computer. Yeah. But if you want multiple members of your team to check in with you and watch, $97 if you register before this evening at midnight. All right, let's see. I think that covers the majority of the questions that I've seen. I'm going to scroll back up to see if I missed anything. Julie said, thanks for pointing us in the direction of Telegram. Julie, we actually have to give full credit to Eriko Rocha.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's how his brother says it. He says Eriko Rocha. I prefer Rocha, so I'm going to go with Hugo's pronunciation of their name, just because I think it's funny that they say it differently and they're brothers. But Eriko actually was the one who first pointed us in that direction and said, you guys have to check this out, and introduced it to the mastermind group that we're a part of, which is how it came to us. So I would love to take credit for it, but I believe the reality is that goes to Eriko, and I'm sure Eriko took it from somebody else. What else do you got, Bear Bomber? Do you have anything?
No, I want to wish you a happy Memorial Day weekend wherever you are. I hope you're going to get a 3-day weekend. If you're international, just have a great weekend.
Yeah.
But here in the States, we're looking forward to a 3-day Memorial Day weekend. I'm looking forward to sitting down with Blue in the quiet of our house and putting together the finishing touches on our content.
Maybe a gin and tonic is in our future?
Yeah, I think so. Tonight, we're going to have a little cocktail to celebrate a good week and a job well done, to celebrate you guys. We're super excited for all of you that have signed up.
Hey, do you think we should do a gin and tonic on Telegram? Gin and tonic recipe on Telegram?
Dude, Blue has a great gin and tonic recipe.
Yeah.
It seems so simple. Like, what is it? It's gin and tonic and ice. Not when Blue does it. It's really good. I think we should do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a slightly bit more than just gin and tonic, but not much. But it's all about the right ingredients.
Little slice of heaven from the porch. Yeah, we'll do that for sure on Telegram. Absolutely.
There you go.
So wherever you are, I hope you're gearing up for a great weekend. If you're going to be joining us, I hope you're plotting out the time, protecting and preserving it, bartering with your family, whatever you have to do, so that you have 3 days with us next weekend to be fully focused for a game-changing 3 days that lead to a game-changing event of your own, that lead to a game-changing year. Because here's the thing that we know to be true. Corona it's been scary and tragic and life-changing, and it's upended all of our worlds. And at the same time, just like Albert Einstein said, I love this quote, in every difficulty there lies an opportunity. And I think that's so true here. Not to be opportunistic, but that opportunity to lead, to serve, to give your tribe what they need in leadership and content and connection and community. It's all there for you. It's right for the taking. There's never been a better time. It's an unprecedented time. This is an unprecedented opportunity. And literally, if you've been thinking about hosting your next live event, thinking about scaling your next live event, or jumping in and hosting your first live event, this is the time to do it. It's never been more affordable. It's never been easier. There's never been less risk. And there's never been more people at home waiting for you to lead, to serve, and to connect them to the people just like them who need the help the most. So get out there. Let's do this. And we want you to remember, whether you join us for the event or not, watch the free training. Ideally, we love to see you at the virtual event. Just commit to doing the thing. Commit to having your event. Commit to getting in front of your people. Commit to having 12K in a day or more. It's important. You know, if you're a speaker, author, influencer, knowledge broker, you know that you have a tribe that's waiting for you. You know you have a unique brilliance that only you have. And you know that nobody can do it but you. Only you can do the work, but you can't do it alone. And if you're meant to do it, there's no time like the present. So the thing we always like to end with, because we think it's so important, is we just want you to remember that you can do this.
Exactly. You can do this. And that was a really great way to end. What I was thinking I would do...
You're thinking about throwing out peanut butter?
Oh, I really am thinking about peanut butter. What I was thinking I would do, I'm actually going to... Do you guys want to see that PLF video one more time? I have to go into the studio for a second. So Barry, you just keep talking to them for 2 seconds. And hey, we'll see you guys on Telegram. Remember, if you're not already registered, go to peanutbuttersage.com, pbsage.com/TVE, and register before midnight tonight, and you'll save $200 because it's going to be $97. It goes up to $297 after that. I'm going to go press play on a video. Barry's going to tell you a story for 30 seconds.
So while Blue presses play, I think it is a great little dose of inspiration seeing Jeff Walker's PLF Live event. First of all, he's one of our favorite clients ever. He has the most incredible event, the most incredible content, connection, and community. It was a huge honor to get to do PLF Live virtually with him for the first time and to serve all those people. We had tripled the number of people we normally have at PLF Live, so that was awesome. And I think it just speaks to what's so important about this. As you're watching that video, think about what it would be like for you to be on your stage in front of your people. Think of all the lives you would touch. Think of how much that would mean to them to have your unique brand of content, connection, and community. And if this is your first event that you're thinking of hosting, I want you to think about, what would you do with 12K in a day? And what would your people do if all of a sudden they had new insight into how they could get where they're trying to go faster, simpler, and easier? That's where you come in. That's where virtual events come in. And you can do this.